Hi. Hi, Nut. Come on up. For those of you who are already here, welcome. I'm going to wait a few more minutes to let some of the other students show up. Hopefully, we'll get more of you showing up in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so I've just been responding to emails of people who couldn't find the link. So hopefully they'll get those emails and show up in a few seconds here. For those of you who are here, this is Epidemics, past, present, and future. Want to make sure you guys can hear me. If somebody could just respond.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So this course, let me set up my, this is a science course, so you do get credit for a non-lab science. It is transferable to most of the Massachusetts colleges. And it's a very, I think, very interesting and slightly different kind of science class. So we're going to be learning some of the major concepts in science, looking at them by looking at various different epidemics and pandemics of the past and the present. We're also going to be bringing in a little bit of history, a little bit of psychology and social behavior. So we're going to, not just talk about the diseases. We're going to talk about how society behaves in response to these diseases and the things that we do that increase or decrease the likelihood of a new epidemic showing up. So I'm Diana Davis. I'm your professor. You can call me Diana. You can call me professor. I'm very flexible about whatever you want to call me. My pronouns are she and her. I am a first-generation college student, so my parents had not been to college before I went, and it took me a good 7 years to get my undergraduate degree. So I understand having to deal with finding a way to pay for college while you're in college. I've also been teaching at the community college level for close to 20 years now. So I think I have a little better understanding of the challenges that community college students have. And I know that they are harder nowadays than they were when I started out teaching. So the economy is just, it's, if you're not a billionaire, it's crappy. My background, I have a master's degree in molecular biology, which you probably have no idea what that means. That's fine. And I spent 5 years working on HIV research before I went back to graduate school. So I've got some lab experience with that particular disease. I want to give you my what I call my anti-discrimination rant. So I do not care about your sex, gender, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, political beliefs, where you're from, whether you're in this country legally, any problems you've had in the past, if you've struggled with school, if you've been in jail. I don't care about your skin color. None of that matters. I work very hard to try and make sure I don't discriminate against students based on anything except, well, anything, period. So if you notice me saying something or somebody else in the class saying something that you feel is discriminatory, please let me know. This is how I learn. This is how I improve. This course is because we're talking about a lot of history and the way society behaves, we're going to talk about major themes like death. We are going to talk about discrimination. We're going to talk a little bit about the intersection between diseases and things like slavery, misogyny, anti-Semitism. So we do have these major kind of unpleasant things to talk about. But I think you're going to find it kind of interesting. This is a simplified discussion of the disease processes. So I want you to be aware that the real world situation is much more complicated than what we're going to talk about. We're going to see several common themes throughout the semester. Environmental disruption often precedes epidemics, and this can be natural environmental disruption like earthquakes, weather changes, but they can also be things that people do. We're going to see that throughout history, society has found people to blame for a disease. We saw this, and we still see this with COVID. Some people are trying to blame China and the Chinese people or Asian people in general. This blame game usually involves racism or religious persecution, occasionally misogyny as well. And we're going to see that whenever there's an epidemic, there are people who do things to make a profit off of the disease. And they often are selling snake oil or things that don't really work, or, like I guess some people still believe that ivermectin helps with COVID. Ivermectin is a dewormer for animals, and it does absolutely nothing against COVID. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second here so that I can go back to my email. No new emails. Okay, we're going to have a small class today. We do have small enrollment, so participation is going to be challenging. But the more you participate, the more interesting this class is going to be. If it's just me talking, that's going to be a lot more boring than if you interact. So let's talk about how to interact on Zoom. Obviously, you can unmute yourself and speak, and that's fine. I've also got, there's a chat. If you go look at the bottom, okay, well, on my screen, it's on the bottom. If you bring the mouse to the bottom, there's a box labeled chat. That'll open up the chat window. And once you're in the chat, you can send messages to me, to everybody else. So if you don't feel comfortable talking up, you can put it in the chat, and I keep an eye on that and try and respond. There is also a thing at the bottom called reactions. And if you click on that, you can clap, give a thumbs up, couple of basic facial expressions, raise your hand if you want me to recognize you and call on you. In general, I'll open the Zoom window early. You're going to enter a waiting room. I will usually have my PowerPoint up with something on the first screen. So there might be a joke, there might be a puzzle, there might be a coloring page. So if we've got, let's go to this, a coloring page like this up, while you're waiting for class to start, you can color these images. If you use the annotate button on your little bar, it'll bring up another set of options, and some of them include draw or stamp. And if you click on draw, you can color. And you can control the color that you're using. You can control the width of the line. You can click on text, click on the image, and you can type anything you want. You can also use the annotation on my screen if you're interested in adding something to what's going on the PowerPoint slides. Cameras are optional. They're encouraged. I understand why you may not want your camera on. Having cameras on improves the feeling of being in a classroom, and it increases interaction. If nobody has their camera on, it tends to be me just running my mouth in the background, which can get boring. Zoom etiquette. Assume that somebody in the classroom may have a child or a grandparent within hearing distance of the computer. So let's try and keep foul language to a limit, be polite to each other. I'm really bad about this. When I lecture in person, I'm throwing F-bombs left, right, and center. So I really work hard not to do that. I'm not going to respond if there's somebody in the background and you've got your computer on, unless it's a child who waves. I will wave back if a child waves at me. Or if your dog or cat comes into the room, I often like to be introduced to them. I have cats, and one of them is notorious for showing up during Zoom meetings. Sometimes, like right now, he's just sleeping beside me. Sometimes he's vocal. Sometimes you'll see his tail go past the camera. So I'm fine with animals being on your screen. We will do breakout groups periodically. These are an opportunity for you to talk to your fellow students without me around. And I may pop in on those, but that's kind of I may or may not show up. So you don't have to worry. If I do show up, you'll see me show up. So you can feel free to talk to each other about me behind my back. You need computer access, obviously. There is no textbook for this class. I will have reading materials for you guys, but those will all be posted on Blackboard. The readings, you do need to do them. There's going to be I need you to read this before Monday or before Wednesday. Wait, no, you're Tuesday, Thursday. Before Tuesday or before Thursday. We can have group discussions on these topics. Anything we talk about in class is fair game for quizzes. So we currently have small number of you. So I'm going to send you guys into 2 breakout groups. I want you to introduce yourself to your new friend or friends. find out what name they like to be called, and find something you have in common with them other than being a community college student. I'm going to give you 5 minutes in the breakout rooms, and then you're going to come back and you're going to introduce your new friend to the class. Okay. Let's get the breakout groups going. They moved where they are. Let me find them again. Okay, where did they hide them? Okay, this is annoying. There we go. All right, here you go, 5 minutes, and then I'm going to get you back in the class. Okay, guys, I'm getting ready to close the breakout rooms. Okay, welcome back to class. Who would like to introduce one of your new friends?
I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
So I had Sam Kirby. Sam's from Danvers. His pronouns are he, him. He is majoring in health science and he's in his second year at North Shore, and it's also his final semester, and he's 21. His hobbies outside of school are photography, backpacking, hiking, and camping.
Great, thank you. Who would like to go?
I can go too for
Okay,
I had Talia, and they go by she her pronouns, and she's a psychology major, and her last semester is going to be the following fall, and her hobbies are working out, photography, painting, and doing nails.
okay, great.
I can do Will.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so he is 22. He's a business major. He owns a parkour gym, likes to go there, and
Works at Dono.
works at. All right. I'm not sure if we said anything else.
Okay, well, that's good. Who's next?
All right, we were in a group of three, so I'll do Carla.
Okay,
So yeah, Carla, she's also 22. You said you were a criminology major, right?
Yes.
cool.
And she said she likes walking her dog, baking, and there was a third thing. What was the third thing?
I don't even remember what I said.
Fair
So
enough. All right.
I can do Eric.
Okay.
He's 22. He is some type of science major. I forget what he said. STEM, maybe.
STEM with a bio focus.
Yeah. And that's all I remember.
Okay. Well,
You like
good.
skiing.
Skiing,
Yes.
cool. Is there much snow around yet?
It's been awful this year. They're supposed to get hit actually like through tonight and tomorrow. So might try to get up there sometime this weekend or next week.
Okay.
Yep.
That's one of those things that sounds like fun. I've never, okay, well, I've done cross-country skiing. I haven't done downhill.
Mhm. It's a little different. It's hard to pick up on though. Like, it's like one of those things no one's really good at without practice.
Okay. So, I want to show you our Blackboard class really quick. So this is what you should see when you go to Blackboard for our class. I've got the announcements up here first. As you can see, here's our video link. We're going to use the same video link every week. So this announcement will stay up all semester. If you look to the left, you can go to syllabus and course information. And there's a lot of information in here. So I've got the syllabus. The full-length syllabus is at the top thing here. But I know that most people, there's a lot of boilerplate, the same stuff that everybody puts in their syllabus, and the students never read it. So I've pulled out the parts of the syllabus that students tend to be most interested in. So here's our tentative lecture and assignment schedule. So this is roughly what we're going to talk about and when we're going to talk about it, or at least in the order that we're going to talk about it. Today, of course, is the introduction. I don't think we're going to get talking about COVID today. I think we're just going to talk about an overview of the class, and we'll talk about COVID next time. And we're just going to give a little bit of information on this particular disease that we're all dealing with right now. And in fact, you may be able to notice, I don't know if you can hear, my voice is a little hoarse. I managed to go 3 years into the pandemic before I caught it, and then I caught it over the Christmas break. So I'm still a little bit hoarse from that. We're going to do a little bit of background information, and then we're going to talk about HIV/AIDS. This is an ongoing epidemic that doesn't tend to make the news as an ongoing epidemic, but we're going to talk about how it started. We're going to talk about treatment, and how it's gone from a death sentence to now, for at least some patients, a chronic illness. Then we're going to move back in time a little bit. We're going to talk about smallpox, which doesn't exist anymore, and which is really exciting that we've managed to completely eliminate this disease. We're going to talk about vaccines and how the immune system works, the 1918 flu pandemic, and then after spring break, we'll get into the big one, the Black Death and the plague. And we're also going to talk about bioterrorism. We're going to talk about malaria, which is another disease we don't talk about very often, but has a huge impact on mortality rates throughout human history. And then kind of wrap up again, coming back to our current pandemic a little bit, specifically looking at post-viral syndromes, what we're calling long COVID, and how pandemics end. So I've got syllabus highlights, the things that we are going to learn about this semester, information on the different types of assignments we have. So we have a multiple choice quiz that we're going to have every week. These are open notes, so you can look at your notes to answer these. And these are going to be posted on Friday. I'm going to have you guys do a journal. The journal, I'm going to give you prompts posted again, at least by Friday. These are a place for you to do some thinking about the kinds of stuff we're discussing, express your opinions and your thoughts about them. Basically, as long as you demonstrate that you've done some critical thinking about the topic, you're going to get full credit for these. We will have what I call review multiple choice quizzes. So there are 4 of these during the semester. Again, these are open notes, and they will be covering material that we have covered in the previous 4 weeks. So the weekly quizzes is basically on the material we covered that week. These review quizzes can be multiple weeks of the semester. I am going to have you write short essays 4 times this semester. Again, you can use your own notes. I'm only looking for about a 1-page essay, so these aren't very long. I am going to check for plagiarism. I am going to check for signs that you used artificial intelligence to write your essay for you. Please don't do that. If you plagiarize, you get a 0. I know it says exam here. It shouldn't say exam. It should say essay. If you plagiarize, you get a 0, and that 0 cannot be dropped. And the last thing is the project. So the project is going to be something where you pick a specific disease or an epidemic that's not covered in lecture. I'm aiming for contagious diseases, but non-contagious, widespread public health problems can also be talked about. Things like the Flint, Michigan water crisis. Or you can talk about contagious diseases like tuberculosis. I call it a project because you have options. You can write a paper. You can do a presentation to the class. You can write and perform an original song. You can perform it either live or you pre-record it, send it to me. You can write a graphic novel. You can write an epic poem. Let me think, what else have I had students do? Those are the big ones. But if you think of some other way of presenting information, ask me if you can do it. I'm very flexible about how you present the information. The goal for the project is for you to do some research on a topic, organize that research, and then present the information you found to the rest of the class. I don't think I have posted the list of possible topics yet. It may be up, it may not, I don't remember, but it will be up. And in order to get credit, you're going to have to get your topic pre-approved, and I will set up a pre-approval link this afternoon or tomorrow. You also have to get your method of communication, whether you want to write a paper, do a presentation, do an original song, whatever that is. And you have to give me your list of sources. I'm going to ask you for 3 sources. I'm going to give you some information. I got to get the project module set up, and I'll give you information there on how to find good sources. The good news is that for most of the information that you would need to do a presentation, Wikipedia is good. Wikipedia is pretty good on science and medicine. Big exception, 2 big exceptions. One, nutrition information on Wikipedia is not always reliable, and anything having to do with reproductive health, especially abortion, I cannot guarantee that Wikipedia is accurate. But like I said, I'm going to give you a list of types of places where you can find information other than just Wikipedia. And then, of course, here's the grading breakdown. Okay, so that's what's under syllabus and course information. There's a section called content, and I'm going to organize the content in weekly modules. So every weekly module will have the same basic stuff. A to-do list for the week, a copy of my lecture notes, a copy of my PowerPoint, and your assignments for this week. So there's an introductory quiz, which is due before midnight on Sunday. And there is a journal entry, which is due again before midnight on Sunday. You can either submit it as a text or attach a file. If you're attaching a file, it needs to be either a Word document. Word is a specific program. You can't use any type of writing program on your computer. A lot of people will submit the wrong format and then I can't read it. And the first time you do that, I'm going to assume it's a mistake. The second time, I'm going to assume you're trying to get extra time. You can also submit JPEGs, so pictures, essentially, of your document. Okay, and then of course, your grades, you can find those down here. Now, if something comes up in your life, you get sick, your computer dies, your boss is an asshole and schedules you to work extra time that you had planned on doing, your assignments in, and you need extra time, ask for it. My rule here is if you ask for extra time, you get 3 weeks. I don't need to know why. Like I said, it can be any reason, and you don't have to tell me that reason. It doesn't matter. I'm going to trust that you're going to get the work done. This class really depends on you getting the work done. So you have to make sure you're motivated. Okay, let's go back to PowerPoint here. Okay, so this page is talking about Googling. So there are all of these fancy ways to Google a little better than just entering something in the text box. So if you're looking for an exact quote, you can use quotation marks. If you're looking for a topic, but you want to exclude something, you can use a hyphen or dash. If you want to look for synonyms, so if you're looking for classes or lessons or coaching, you use this tilde. That is usually found if you've got a computer with a regular keyboard. It's usually found in the upper left, and it's just this kind of squiggly line. I know it's a little hard to see because it's in yellow, but it's a little squiggly line here. If you want to search within a specific site, use a colon. If you are looking for multiple terms, you can use a vertical bar between those terms. And if you're looking for a time period, you can use 2 periods in between 2 dates to limit your search. There's also something called Google Scholar. Google Scholar is specifically for scientific publications. Scientific publications can be very challenging to read. For this class, you're welcome to look at them. I recommend reading the abstract. Abstracts are usually posted free. If you really want to read the full article or you want to try and read it, Twitter is dying, but there are still people on Twitter, and there's a hashtag called ICanHasPDF, and you can put out a tweet and asking for a specific article, and a lot of times you'll get a response. Scientists like to share their information. Publishers like to charge you for that information. So you can often contact one of the authors of the publication and ask for a copy. And then there's something called Sci-Hub. Sci-Hub has pirated copies of papers. These aren't always available, but you can try that as well once you find a publication you want to read. These full articles, when I say they cost, scientific publications, the publishers really scam people. And they can often charge, $40, $50, $100 for access to an article. And that's just ridiculous. So try some of these alternatives. There is a podcast called This Podcast Will Kill You. This is an excellent, excellent source of fact-based information. There are transcripts for some of their episodes. So if you want to talk about a specific disease, you can look and see if they have talked about it. They're working their way through the transcripts. They've gotten a lot more in there. They also have a list of their sources. So you can say, okay, I want to talk about, I keep bringing up tuberculosis because I'm reading a book on it right now. But tuberculosis, you look up their podcast on tuberculosis, and they have resources that you can use just for your own research. Be careful about sources. There are a lot of people, especially with COVID, who are telling you or telling the public things that are not true. In fact, a lot of people, these especially anti-vax people, they make a lot of money by selling things like Substack subscriptions, or they have advertising in their videos, and so they'll spill anything. They'll try and tell you anything that they can so that they can have a big enough following and make enough money. So be aware of that. If you have issues that are causing difficulty in completing the class or your education at North Shore, there are a lot of resources available. So on the North Shore website, there's a page called Here to Help. They've got emergency funding, food resources. Food resources include a free farmers market that comes to, I think we're back on both campuses, both Danvers and Lynn, about once a month. And it's good stuff. This is not the stuff that they couldn't sell at the farmers market. This is actually decent produce. everybody should take advantage of this. But if you need food other than just that, there's a list of resources in the area, a list of housing assistance, parent resources, mental health resources. We have on-staff counselors on both campuses if you need some to talk about your problems. There's a lot of stuff going on there. If you have problems and you can't find resources, or if it's just something you think I need to know about, email me. I don't check emails late into the evening, and I don't always check them on the weekends, but I do check them regularly, and I may have some information on resources that that I can offer you, or places to go for information. Okay, here is the farmers market. These are the dates for Danvers campus. These are the dates for the Lynn campus. If you go to this website, again, it's under the Here to Help. You need to register for the month each time you want to go to the farmers market. The only purpose of the registry is to make sure they bring enough food. That's it. That's all. So sign up if you're near Danvers and you can make it on February 8th. Sign up for free food. And this again is a copy of the schedule. I showed it to you on Blackboard. This class, as I said at the beginning, works best if we're very interactive. If there's something you want to talk about that's not on this syllabus, ask. If I know about it, we can talk about it. Or if you give me, a week or two, I can do some research and I can talk about whatever you're interested in. It's very, this class really works best when we're interactive. I've said that 3 times now. But it's true. And so anything that you are interested in, ask me or pop it in the chat. Okay. Are there any questions on the general overview or orientation of the class that you guys have? All right, so the first quiz is up. It's not really on the material we covered here. It's all about you. It's to help me get to know you and your interests. Next time we meet, we're going to have the COVID overview, and we'll start talking about where do diseases come from. I will see everybody next Tuesday.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very much. Bye.